Hello, Gemini friends. I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my Gemini December 2024 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. I'm calling the theme of this month Powerful Portals of Positivity. And I'm going to go into all of the details about what I mean for this and how you can activate this energy in your life. This is for you if Gemini is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Gemini placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. If you're a very late degree Gemini friend, so birthdays like June 15th through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Cancer report, as your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. Okay, so podcast friends, I will put the chart as the thumbnail if you want to check it out. I'm going to be focusing a lot of energy in the top right quadrant of this chart, but we have a lot of things to discuss in different areas as well, so I will jump around. Okay, so we'll just get there right from the beginning. First point of opening of this powerful portal of positivity has to do with the sun being in Sagittarius. We also have the moon there, December 1st, new moon. Mercury in retrograde is making a longer transit of Mercury in Sagittarius than usual. This is adding to this story. So the sun in Sagittarius is opening this light, is shining this light on relationships and partnerships. The portal is opening from these placements for this positive pathway within your relationship space. Okay, so all of the Sag energies light up the relationship sector for Gemini. So a lot of this positivity portal opening has to do with your relationships. You may feel this sense of optimism and adventure. The retrograde could be bringing this feeling back for you or bringing someone back in that makes you feel this way. The energy of Sagittarius is the polar brother or sister here of Gemini. So both of these move in this upward spiral and they're mutable. They move in different directions, but they're ultimately moving onward and upward. So there's this, this sister energy that we have that activates because Gemini is an air sign, Sag is fire sign, and those elements work in complement. So the natural buoyancy of Sagittarius is well received from Gemini. The natural upward activity is well received by Gemini. You see, so these buoyant energies for Sagittarius are going to be present any which way, but the way that Gemini can experience that, it just feeds right into your air. It speaks your language, and that's part of why these transits are even more powerful for you as an air sign and as the other force here connecting directly to Sagittarius in this dual pair. So the sun here is just encouraging you to embrace this expansiveness and adventure and new perspective in your one-on-one connections. And it's making this a very powerful portal for cultivating positivity in your personal and your professional relationships. So if you're, whether it's a personal situation or at work or your clients, you have a new optimism that can be arising here. You have a new way to view things because how we see things affects how we experience things. And that is actually true. And the more we can have an attitude of gratitude, which sometimes is easier when we have a lot of planets in Sagittarius, especially for a fire or air sign that receives that energy well, there is actually a science to how we manifest better experiences for ourselves through positivity. I'm not going to go into all the science behind this. I would need many videos just focusing on that. But just a few things here. Dopamine release is directly related to our feelings of pleasure and motivation and reward. So, good neurotransmitter feelings are actively activated by gratitude. And this has been scientifically shown. So when someone has their brain connected to a brain scanner and we feel grateful, the brain actually will release more dopamine, which makes us feel more better, right? So it activates this feeling of goodness, and it continues, it perpetuates itself. It opens up this cascade that promotes more gratitude. It gives us a serotonin boost, and increased serotonin levels are associated with improved mood. I understand that sometimes too much serotonin also can cause its own problems, but what we're talking about here is the ways that gratitude can activate this portal of positivity in your life, and that having these Sagittarius placements are going to bring you the chance to have even more gratitude. Now, if you're finding that November, December are here and you're not feeling it, you may have to actively cultivate it But the more you cultivate it, the further it will go because you do have this support from the universe. Things can come back from the past with Mercury retrograde. We also have Mars retrograde, which we'll get into later. So there is this returning of back of things that were working out before and could be working out again. Something else important to know about how gratitude can shift your experience and how this particular period of time is a more positive time in general from these transits has to do with the reticular activating system. This is something that I talk about quite frequently. Basically, the RAS is this network of neurons, and it's located in the brainstem. And their job is to filter out information that comes in, and it definitely influences what you notice and focus on. So it's its job to filter out the information that comes in. So the more grateful you are, the more you're letting your RAS know that you want to have things to be grateful for. So you will notice things more to be grateful for rather than noticing things to not be grateful for. And those are both there, can either be a positive feedback loop or a negative feedback loop. So these portals of positivity that are opening for you, instigated by these Sagittarius placements and some other things which we'll get to, can activate this positive feedback loop. And now it's your practice and your work when you start to get into the negativity. It's not that we want to hide it. We don't run from our shadow. It's just, it does start a negative cascade. And once we are done doing our feeling of something negative, we have to generate that positive energy again to get back up on this horse. And, Geminis often tend to flip flop, right? This is the twins. And, so finding balance for you is going to be one of the big keys here. Really good exercise for everyone, but especially for Geminis with that swing can be, if you're upset about something, write words that are negative that would describe what what you're feeling, and then write the opposite words. This is a derivation of a practice from The Marriage of Spirit by Leslie Temple Thurston, which is a book that I've had it on my nightstand for 20 years. I've used it regularly. I still use it. And basically, in many different spiritual principles, we'll talk about this marrying of opposites and how we can reach the transcendence point from the marrying of opposites. So if you make a list of those negative emotions that you have, and then you try to find their opposites, and then you pray to be lifted above the polarity between positive and negative and be lifted into a transcendent space of bliss, it can actually, trigger experiences of bliss and samadhi, which are, extended periods of bliss. So this is a time when you have this even more available to you. So this shifting of the perspective and reframing experiences can have a massive, massive impact on your life. Okay, so Mercury retrograde here is going to give you this opportunity to revisit old connections, old conversations, old agreements. Sometimes the retrograde will bring delays and reflections, but the portal can still be activating this positivity by offering a second chance in relationships, a chance to do things differently. A lot of my friends and I like to use the term cancel clear. Like if we have an automatic response that is something that is not what we're trying to continue to do anymore, we say, oh wait, cancel clear. What I meant to say was this, because a lot of our programming is automatic. So if you find that there's a dynamic in your relationship space, you can activate this portal of positivity by cancel clearing. If you go to do things in an old way, if you go to be negative, if you go to be critical, you can cancel clear your way into new neural patterns. It's definitely a time to reassess partnerships, clear up misunderstandings, create new pathways in your brain, and create new pathways with other people moving forward. This energy is also giving you an opportunity to realign communication in a very big way. Gemini rules communication, and you have not only Jupiter moving through your sign, we'll get to that. Also have a full moon in your sign, we'll get to that. But there's a lot of energy here that has to do with interacting with other people, and this seventh house being full is part of that. So, you're looking for growth-oriented discussions that can turn past challenges into new opportunities for deeper connections, which is what it's all about. So one of the ways that you can activate this portal is to clear away negativity by active processes on your own and with other people, using this new moon to set intentions and make wishes, to invite harmony and growth and adventure into your life. You can use the retrograde focus to work on forgiveness and clarity. Okay, so I could talk forever about how Sagittarius can be a benefit to you, but we do have to move on to other things. So I wanted to give you some dates. First of all, this Mercury retrograde date series, November 8th was the pre-shadow period, November 25th official retrograde, goes direct in the middle of the month this month, December 14th, and it takes until January 3rd to kind of get its center, get its balance back. You will notice in the second half of the month, it will be easier to schedule. There will be more clarity. There will be more flow, even though we are still under the web of Mars retrograde. Having that second, retrograde here, Mercury, start to clear up, you will feel a difference in that energy. And that will help us make way for a new year that in many ways will feel like a new year because Mercury will be at least direct. We will be under this cloud of Mars retrograde. So there will be something still kind of old and going backwards and inwards about. But this type of timing here means that we will be feeling this shift in the second half of the month and getting prepared for our new energy for the new year. It's a time to wrap up old, unfinished business. December 1st, we have the new moon at 9 degrees of Sagittarius. All of you will be feeling those potentials. You may have a more close, notable, obvious contact if you're closer to 9 degrees. So that's going to be basically, we'll say 4 degrees through 14 degrees. The closer to 9 degrees you are, the more you may feel that. And that can relate to, the sun doesn't move into Gemini in the same day each year. That's why there's a few day radius that this can be if you're going by birthdays. But this could be anywhere from like May 26th through June 6th. And the closer to like May 30th, 31st, the more you may notice that connection from the moon there. Okay, so now let's go to another layer of this powerful portal of positivity, which is the full moon in your sign. We only usually get one full moon in our sign unless there's a blue moon. In this case, there's not. So in the days around the 15th in the center of the month, 24 degrees of Gemini, full moon. Elucidation, information, anything having to do with information from inside coming out or information that was hidden becoming known. Things can come to fruition, things can come to culmination, things can be accomplished, things can manifest. This is a major time for empowerment for Geminis because this happens in your first house. The Gemini, full moon happens in your first house, and Jupiter is there too. So you're going through a big cycle of expansion from May 2024 into June 2025. From the Placidus chart perspective, those of you who are later degrees, it will extend even beyond June. But either way, a long time of expansion, and now you've got the full moon here. The full moon can also bring this fullness, completion, fruition, possibly drama to Gemini things. Relatives, like aunts, uncles, cousins, things like that, can also bring writing projects, publications, things like that to fruition. You could complete a major writing project. You could, do something notable there. And then we have to look at the fact that this fullness comes into your first house. So this could open up a portal of positivity as it relates to self-realization. So this full moon can bring clarity and help you see why you need to step into greater authenticity and how much better you will feel when you do. It's also a really powerful moment where you can release negativity about yourself, about other people, self-doubt, and you can embrace your uniqueness and stay in your own lane, basically, not have to do as much comparing to other people and really just step forward in confidence with your truest self. So the full moon can very much be about that embodiment. Time to get to the next level of standing in your own power. And you can reflect on personal goals and you can reflect on what you want to do now for this, new cycle until the next full moon in Gemini, to live your best life. Okay, so while we're on the aspects that are in a positive note, oh wait, let me just give you some dates for this one. So 24 degrees, that's friends towards the end there, we'll say 19 degrees through 29 degrees. So date-wise, like around June 13th through June 23rd, the closer to around June 18th. If you know your degree, it will be the closer to 24 degrees that you may see something really obvious or have a big outcome from that moon. First house is also the house of limelight, so you may be known for something. So it's a really good time if you're trying to kind of bring something big that's out. If it's not going out very far into the world, like complete something. because with Mars retrograde and Mercury retrograde, it's not always the best time to launch because you do have the tides doubly coming in. So anything that you throw out, it will be harder to go far and wide because the tides will bring them back. So if you have goals out here, it's not really good to try to worry about those. You do the small steps now, the experimental steps, the inner steps, the things closer to you, and then all that work eventually will be stronger when the tides go out and can go towards those ends. Okay, so Mars retrograde, I gave you the dates. Did I give you the dates? Yes, I think October 7th is when the pre-shadow started. December 6th is the official retrograde. February 24th, it's retrograde until, and then it takes until May to get that straightened out. So it's very long. Now, right now, Mars is in Leo, and that's actually really good for Gemini. This is a 60-degree angle of possibilities. This is a fellow fire, or fire again, in that fellow grouping or polarity of fire and air. So just like the Sag energies are really good for you, this Leo energy is really good for you. Mars is spending a lot of this retrograde in Cancer. That's a totally different energy for you. So this one is more robust. It's more active, even within its retrograde. So you may be getting lazy with certain things, but then you may be getting super hot and, obsessed with other things. Mars tends to reverse energy. You may feel like you're getting lazy and disinterested and, complacent and insipid about, in certain ways. But then there may be that one thing that you're like, wow, I'm really gung-ho about this. Or those couple of things. So one of those gung-ho things may be involving Leo, which rules the 5th house, which is your passions, your pursuits, your creativity. It's true love, it's romance, it's children, it's your pleasures, it's your hobbies. And then the other thing is, since Mars is in the house of Gemini for you, more Gemini energy is coming up. Okay, so this is a time where reflecting on communication and rethinking how you express yourself, thinking about, reconsidering past conversations or past patterns and trying to figure out more positive and assertive ways of handling communication, that allow for the other person to feel heard and for you to be heard. It also can have to do with rethinking daily actions because, Gemini is the stuff close to us. It's the communication, it's our neighborhood, it's our busy day-to-day things are included in that. So, how are you using your energy, which is the big question of Mars retrograde, in your communication, in your mobility, and how can you become more efficient with that energy? That's going to be a big thing to know. It's not generally indicated to start a fight with someone in Mars retrograde because it tends to boomerang back. So just kind of be aware of that, even if you're right. And you may see instantaneous proof of this. So just be careful because other people are aggravated too. And this could bring up frustrations, especially if you're trying to force something. It's definitely not a time to force things. It's a time to be on the shore and see what comes to you and then deal with the squeaky wheels. It's a time to be the spider and then wait in your web and let things come to you. And if things are flowing naturally, then go with them. But as soon as you start to get frustrated, frustration, and it's frustrating for you, unless it's something you absolutely have to do, you may want to redirect that energy to avoid the common frustration that comes from Mars retrograde. But other people are going through this too. It may make them more flaky. It may make them more obsessive. It may make them more angry. So, this is the climate that we're walking through at this time. And, you could inadvertently upset somebody or wake a sleeping giant. So it's just definitely something to be aware of. Okay, so as the planets move on from Sagittarius, they're going to join some other transits that are already happening in Capricorn. And so even though we have extra Sagittarius energy for like starting in November, we've got 2 full months of strong Sagittarius energy. December is actually covered more by Capricorn energy than it even is by all of the extra Sag. So we've got Pallas Athena there to start, Venus is there, Ceres is there. The new moon will be there on December 30th. That is a black moon for the Eastern time zone and East because it's the second new moon in the calendar month. And the sun will get there on the 22nd and depending on your time zone close to there, and then the new moon on the 30th. Okay, so you've got Ceres, Venus, Pallas Athena, the sun, the new moon, all in Capricorn. So this one is in a little bit more of a challenged angle for Gemini. So you might have to work a little bit to really get at the sweet stuff here. There could be some points of challenge, and it could have to do with father figures or authority figures. It could have to do with business or work, or someone stern and kind of, not yielding emotionally. But either way, this is activating this positive portal of transformation for relationships with father figures, authority figures, or you as one of those figures. And sometimes it's a parent that's not a father. I've seen that happen. Historically, it's a father energy, but it can manifest either way. Okay, so this is a time for Gemini to focus on empowerment. This eighth house, this first house has a big empowerment placement. This eighth house is a big empowerment placement. And this has to do with grounding your positive intentions for deep intimacy and shared resources. Pallas here, Pallas Athena, is a strategist. So she can bring, strategic insight and wisdom, helping you to solve problems along the lines of taxes, debt, credit, shared resources, and your connection with the ethereal realm. The water houses, 4, 12, and 8, are, this place where we connect with the unseen or lesser seen realm. And having a very full house here like this can bring you extra synchronicity. It can bring you more in connection with that quiet space where, the inexplicable things occur. And this can definitely be a time of intellectual empowerment. And Pallas can help with that. And Venus rules money. So, you may have money come to you. Ceres talks about sustainability and, sustainable investments. Also, this is a house of investment. You may be making investments, or you may be reevaluating your investments. Okay, so this new moon cycle is opening up this portal for emotional and financial growth. And you can plant very deep seeds, especially with that black moon. You can go deeper to help those seeds grow more robustly. Okay, I still want to talk about the most challenged pressure point aspect of the month and my favorite aspect of the month. I'll give you those dates and give you info. But I want to remember here to tell you that if you are a person that likes the dates and you want my write-up of my sweet and salty report of, the good aspects, the bad aspects, the ones that I'm most worried about, my favorite ones, and a general write-up of the month. If you're a visual learner, this is very helpful. Go to anniehelpsyou.com, put your name and email address in, click receive. When you get the welcome letter, click on the archive link in that search button from the archive link, put December 2024 astrology, and you will find the sweet and salty report. But I'm going to give you a couple more dates. Okay, so I'm going to give you the later in chronology date first, because it's the more challenged one, and I want to end off on a positive note. So when outer planets come together, they're usually together for a long time because they move slowly. So in this case, Saturn and Jupiter, so I'm going to erase some of this. Saturn and Jupiter are coming together in a square. Again, they were like this in August and September. Now they're here again, although the official exact date is the days around December 24th, depending on your time zone. They are really in close proximity, just a couple of degrees away. So for all intents and purposes, very much influencing, all of December, before that and after that. So interestingly, we've been talking about Sagittarius. Jupiter rules Sag, all that buoyancy, expansion, sometimes excess. Saturn rules Capricorn, and the other energy that's happening this month. And that rules restriction and discipline and, material manifestation. So these two are at odds with each other, basically, and this is happening in your identity expansion house, but it's also happening in house of work or out in the world or father figures or authority figures. So there could be some push and pull towards your male side or your active side, or, someone in your life that's being stern and critical and restrictive, and you being wanting to flow and be expansive. There's this duel here. But, being an optimist, again, and focusing on gratitude and positive things, which I was going to try to make a lemon, but it looked more like a duck. Okay, so here's my lemon. I'm going to make lemonade out of these lemons that are coming in possibly from this square. So you're going to have these two forces at odds with each other. The Jupiter could be, restricted by these Saturnian movements. So your flow, your expansion, your growth. And Saturn could be, putting the kibosh on that. And you could have Jupiter kind of messing with your stability or your structure in some way, some kind of force coming there. But you can use this to achieve balance. So if there are areas of your life that are really restricted, you can let Jupiter help you crack those open. If you have areas of your life that need more discipline, you can use Saturn to firm things up. So, you can use squares to your benefit. They can crack you out of a matrix, and they are very powerful energies, especially when they're outer planets like this. Two key words here to make use of this aspect are discernment and streamlining. So that is the goal here, is to be more discerning, like rather than getting your fingers in all these pudding pies that Jupiter wants, narrow down, streamline. And rather than, just flagrantly saying yes to everything, get more discerning. And then at the same time, let Jupiter give a little bit of space, a little bit of breath, a little bit of openness to any narrow focus that has been limiting you. My favorite aspect of the month is in the days around December 19th. That is when Venus will move from Capricorn into Aquarius and make a trine with Jupiter, who's still there. All of this is happening in the air sign energy, so this is good, extra good for you because it's kissing that element for you. So Venus will come from Cap, go into Aquarius, go into this trine formation with Jupiter, and it can bring lots of great things: social harmony, personal growth, step into, a more confident version of yourself. This can have to do with widening your social network. This can have to do with blessings coming from your friendships, teaching and learning. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned that before, but the Sag energies, both through the Jupiter aspects and also the Sag movement, can very much be about education, teaching and learning, needing to get more educated, going back into something that you studied before. So you may see something come in, harmony in relationships, an important key relationship, somebody coming from the past to help you with something, love returning back to you, romance returning back to you, fun times with children. This energy could be just anybody close to you in your close relationships with people that you love. Sometimes it's just luck. Sometimes I've seen a trine happen where you just get lucky and something just falls into your lap. When I gave you the dates for the new moon in Sag, that was more of the early degree friends. And then I gave you the dates of the full moon in Gemini, and that was more the later degree friends. This series of aspects, both the square with Saturn and Jupiter, the tough one, which we could make lemonade from, and the great one with Venus and Jupiter, are all going to center around you middle degree folks. So like 12 degrees through like 22 degrees. So basically every degree is covered by something notable this month. It doesn't always happen that way. So if you're in that around June 2nd to around June 12th, the closer to around June 7th, you get both the bump from the Saturn square and the kiss from the Venus trine in closer proximity, but it's usable by everyone. Okay, so if you have resonated with my work, then please click like and subscribe and click the bell. I've heard that if you don't click the bell, my posts won't go into your feed, but that's what you can do to help YouTube know that you resonate with my work. And you can also enable notifications, and all of those things will help guarantee that you won't miss anything from me. If you love the dates, sweet and salty dates, things to be awareful and careful of, the awesome aspects, definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com, put your name and email address, and click receive to get my very informative weekly newsletter. You get so many free things. Most of my work in the world is free. You get even more free stuff as a member of my free VIP community, which is what you become when you put your name and email address in there. When you click receive, you will get the welcome letter delivered into your inbox. It could be in spam. You'll have to move it into your inbox. Click on the archive link there and then put in the search December 2024 astrology. And that's where you will find the sweet and salty dates. I always email that out a month early to my VIP friends so that you can prepare and know the dates ahead of time and know what you're getting yourself into. And if you're a visual learner, you could see all the dates there and have everything in a written format. So at anniehelpsyou.com, you can unleash by joining my free VIP community. You can upgrade by accessing my secret star portal. This gets the earliest possible access to all of my work. You do get the horoscopes and other posts early in my free VIP community too, and then you get them extra early in the secret star portal. You also get written horoscopes monthly for each sign and so much more when you upgrade there. And if you want to learn astrology, then you can click on up level and see my options. You can start with the basics, or you can dive deep into my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Certification course. If you think I put a lot into my free work, you should see what I put into this course. It has well over 100 modules and growing, and it can take you from beginner to earning money in a very short amount of time if you apply what I teach you that way. And for people who have already been well versed with astrology, if you can't seem to tie it all together because you know so much and you don't know where to go in the chart to give a concise, effective reading every time, that is my specialty. Plus, if you're trying to monetize your love of astrology, that is my area of expertise. So you can click on Up Level when you're there at anniehelpsyou.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.